Finally, some women holding feminists accountable. Let's get in the video. Like and subscribe.
This week, CBS This Morning is partnering with digital media company Refinery29 for the series My Vote, looking at the impact of millennial women on the upcoming midterm elections. Alex Wagner spoke with a group of 6 millennial women voters from Pennsylvania at Frankfurt Hall in Philadelphia. The panel included 3 Republicans as well as 3 Democrats. They all plan to vote in November's midterm elections. And in an exclusive clip for CBSN, they spoke about a variety of issues, including feminism and sexual misconduct.
We're all women here. Who among us considers herself a feminist? Raise your hand. Halfway up. Why are you a feminist? What does that mean?
To me, it means that I fight for the equality of women when it comes to equal pay, equal rights, and especially respect.
When I think of a feminist, I definitely don't picture myself. I don't feel like I need to go fight for rights that I already have. There's not a war on women right now.
Yeah, I think feminism is cancer. What right does a woman not have in America today? When you look at the gender wage gap, is complete myth.
You think the wage gap is a myth?
Oh, it's absolute myth. When you look at
The best way to destroy a competition is let them destroy themselves. Loving it.
it's statistically broken down, there is no wage gap. The problem is women typically go into fields that are lower earning than men.
Lauren, are you a feminist?
No. When I hear the word feminist, from what I see in the media, I kind of look at it as a victim kind of mentality. I am all about women's rights, women's equality, and more so equality of opportunity. I do believe there is a gap in wages. I've seen it.
Jessica, when we talk about politicians who have been accused of sexual misconduct, does that matter when you are making your vote?
I think it's a good indicator of their morals and of their values, and so it does matter to me because you can only know so many victims of sexual assault before you have to care. I think it points to a bigger ethical issue, bigger moral issue, because if you can look at someone and view them as less than you and devalue them, then you're going to treat everybody that way.
I think it's an indicator.
If they're true.
Right, it's an allegation.
If they're true, of course, the allegation. Now, real quick, I just want to address something real quick. I'm going to let you get back to the video. First of all, wage gap. Is it real? Yes and no. Meaning that the wage gap, there is a gap in wage, but it's not because men are choosing to pay women less. We already discussed that. It's already been debunked several times. The real issue is simply the choice. Women tend to not go into fields that pay more money. They work less. If you think about it, really, if men really want to look at it, and I hate to say this, I don't fully mean it, but I do mean it. On average, women are less likely to share their money with a man. And women are less likely to take care of the entire family, including the man. So which means that every full-time job that's available, there's a higher probability that if a man has it, he's not only taking care of a woman, he's taking care of kids as well. So in all these ideals that women should get all of these jobs that men have, statistically, women are not taking care of the entire family more than men. So if all of these individual women, with the high amount of single women today, do you really want a whole bunch of single women taking up all the high paying jobs, given the probability that they're not going to take care of both a man and all the kids? On average, men are taking care of the entire family, which is a higher reason why men have a higher propensity to go after higher paid jobs. There's more of an incentive for men to make money and be successful because that's what you need to attract a woman. However, a woman doesn't need to make a lot of money and be successful in order to mate and attract a man. So if you look at the fundamental biological basically motivator for men to go after more money, it's much more higher in a male than a female. And to me, at its core, that's the real reason why men make more money than women. They're genetically motivated in order to mate, to have sex, to pull some hoes. You gotta have that bread. And that's pretty much why. Let's get back to it.
That's not a conviction. They're innocent until proven guilty.
There's a lot of women that say that they were assaulted that weren't actually assaulted, and it takes away from the women who were assaulted. We have men literally having to go to court with pulling out text messages from women who claim that they were raped when they really just regretted having sex with that man. That is just so repulsive that women are lying about being raped. Regret is not rape.
These are tough conversations to have. And there feels like there's a real steep divide in this country between the left and the right. How many of you have friends who are from opposite parties? You're still friends with them.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about those conversations that you have with them.
Some of them are really enlightening because it helps push me, like, I'm an experienced debater, so I can see both sides, but to really, really draw me in.
You see how the girl in the red rolled her head, like when she said, I'm an experienced debater, like, this bitch ain't shit. That's kind of how she looked when she said that. I just thought that was interesting.
I'm an experienced debater, so I can see both sides, but to really, really draw me in has been helpful to help me wrap my mind around what is the argument that's missing from this, to bring people together on that common, okay, we all agree on this one minimal feature, so let's start there and build very, very slowly from that. So I love those conversations, even if they make my blood pressure, go really high for a while, it comes back down.
You're laughing, Colette.
Well, because it's so polarized right now. I hear my husband angry typing, in the next room.
Hate typing?
Exactly. I mean, people are getting very, very worked up.
All right, so basically these women are showing that they have different positions about feminism. I personally believe that the majority of their positions that they showed in that video was less about their beliefs about feminism and more about their position politically. I think some of them were Democrat, some of them were Republican, some of them were on the left, and some of them were on the right. And I think they were aligning themselves with their positions on the right by talking about feminism. I believe that if they were really pushed and they wasn't in front of a camera, a lot of them would share the same ideals. Here's the thing, guys. I just want to really get to the core of this. In the world of men and women, there's a part of the world called power. And men compete very specifically. We build stuff, we earn money, we're stronger, we're more dominant, and we use those forces to get what we want in life, not only from other men, but specifically for women, from women. That is our form of power. Women figured out that their form of power is this submissive victim nature that they have. Now, I know that sounds bad, but you have to understand what it is. Let's go back into the wild. Into the wild, you have the lion who hunts the gazelle, and the gazelle is the victim. The gazelle is always vigilant, always watching for the lion to prance and try to eat him. Females are the same way. Women walk around every day and they see and they're around males who technically could take advantage of them. The only reason, in my personal opinion, that males don't take advantage of females is because there's other males that won't allow it. So if you think about it, what is a female's number one weapon? To appeal to a man's heart, to appeal to his good side for him not to act bad, right? Technically, if we were not in the modern world, we're back in the basically nomadic times when we didn't have this morality. If a man wanted something, he'll just hit her upside the head, throw her over the shoulder, and it was acceptable. It is only the evolution of man's morality that has allowed women to live the way they live today. So their main weapon, which is feminism, comes from the perspective of a victim. Now, I'm not saying this to say that women are wrong for wanting rights and wanting more and more things, but they're always gonna pitch it from a touchy, emotional, do the right thing perspective, because that's the only real position they can take. They cannot say you better do it or else, because they're not in a position to say or else to men. Men are more dominant, more aggressive, and so they're always going to make appeals to the heart. That's why it's always about being a victim. It's always about we don't feel comfortable. That is their form of power to a man. A woman sways a man through the heart. Oh, you want me, you care about me, well, do this for me if you really care about me. So that's why a lot of these arguments irk men a lot, because they're always based around a submissive, emotional position. Hey, I don't feel comfortable, don't catcall, don't use certain words in the workplace. Emotional based, vulnerability based words and positions in the world. And so a lot of their arguments are based on that, because that is the main way they combat power. They cannot combat it because they're not willing to go to war. They're not going to physically fight you. They don't have the same level of aggression to force your hand. So they use emotional manipulative tactics to get men in line. And I think that fundamentally that's the reason why so many men are annoyed with feminism. Now, here's the thing. Is feminism in its inception fundamentally wrong? No. You have to ask yourself, before women can vote, do you think they should have been able to participate in the political process? I think that they should. So if feminism came about by pushing that women should be able to vote, then I have no problem with it. But as it started to evolve, it started to evolve into a power structure where it's anything you need to combat to better your position or push your cause over men, you call it feminism. Whether it's right, whether it's moral, whether it's fair, it doesn't matter. It's a form of power. Feminism is the encapsulation of how women compete against men in the world of power. Essentially, that's what it is. So I don't think we necessarily need to get mad about the word. I think you need to understand that even though women are women and we think that they're spice and everything nice, they're still human beings who want power. And fundamentally, that's what I think feminism is. It's a form of power, and women compete in the world through it. And so just like men, we compete differently. One of the biggest issues with men dealing with feminism is because men are used to fighting or competing with other men. We're not necessarily used to competing with other women. For instance, if you have a high-paying job and there's somebody coming at your head on Wall Street and it's another guy, you compete by doing better than him, being more vocal than him. Sometimes you might even use certain language to let him know that you're more dominant and you're the better trader, whatever it may be, right? But all of a sudden, in that same workplace, 40 years of women being in the workplace, the same woman you flirt with, that you treat nice to, that you open the door to, you're not used to competing with her. All of a sudden, you're in the workplace, she's coming for your head, she wants your job, and you're not willing to say the things you say to the man. You're not willing to give her the cold shoulder. You're not willing to be very blunt with her because you're competing for that top job. And all of a sudden, you don't know how to compete against this person who's supposed to be your companion, which is the woman. This is the same issue we're having with feminism today. We want to treat women well. We see them as our companion. And now they're coming publicly, politically, competing against the power structure, basically competing against men, and we don't know how to compete with them without totally dominating them and disrespecting them. And so we're in this weird space of how do we combat this stuff without totally dominating our companions, which are women. So hey, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and like and subscribe. Keep in mind, if you don't like and subscribe, YouTube won't recommend my videos in the algorithm. Nobody's gonna see my stuff if you don't. Also, check out my links. I have my personal cell phone number in the description. If you have another video idea or a new video you think I should do, I want you to text me and then text me the video clip, and I'll go ahead and do it in the next video if it's good. Also, be sure to support the channel. In the links, there's going to be a number. You can text me and I'll reply back with a whole bunch of different ways you can actually support the channel, whether it's financially or you just want to help some other way. I appreciate it. My name is Arafat Shabazz, and you've been watching the Invisible Hand Podcast. Peace.